What a great atmosphere we've had this morning. Amen. I'm telling you, I said when I walked in here, I just felt like something good was going to happen when we came to church together. Oh, tell your neighbor, say, you are my family. We are one heart, and this is our home. This is our home. We've been talking a lot, over the last couple of weeks about our future and the systems. Remember the systems? Throw the slide up there. That's the parts that I was talking about that sort of shows some of the different parts of ministry that drives everything, and how that if one of those things get locked up, it locks up the whole thing. How that mobile church has really sort of revealed how important these systems are in what we do. And, of course, the center of that has to do with ministry and vision, the heart, the Spirit of God, the presence of the Lord. And He's the one that sends out the mission into these ministries and into these areas, these systems that help us do a ministry effective. And so we talked a lot last week about the health of the church body. And what I want to talk about this morning is I want to talk about the body or the family, and I'm going to talk about how we are a home. Everybody say home. This is home. There really is. This is home. You are home to us. As you know, Dana and I, we don't have family that live here except for you. You are our family, and we are as close to you as we are our own family, and that's the truth. We've grown together in our almost 18 years. Wow, babe, 18 years coming in May. We're going to be here 18 years. Hard to believe. And so we've grown together as a family in our home. Now, one of the things that this is going to be very different this morning. I'm just going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you something personal. But I want to start with something that sort of helped me realize how important home is. Dana and I love to take vacations like everybody else. We love staycations, but we also love when we kind of get to go away. And there's certain places that we love to go back to. We love when we find a place that we're just like, man, this is an awesome place. And I want to share with you just some of the places, some pictures here. Like one of the places that we love to go, we love to go to this place is Maine. We love to go up to Maine, up into the New England area, to the different ports of Maine. That is absolutely one of our favorite places to go. Paul and Mary Belafato introduced us to Maine several years ago. We'd never been, and they took us up there and blessed us. And man, we fell in love with that, and we've made multiple trips, and we love going up to Maine. That's one of our places that we love to go. It's a place we go that we get to retreat. We love the lobster rolls. We love the blueberry muffins. We love the whoopie pies, everything that just comes with Maine, the clam chowder, all of that good stuff. It's just so good, and we love going up there. Another place that we enjoy going, if we're not going that direction, we like to kind of go, down towards the Caribbean, the British Virgin Islands. And we like to go down to a place called Virgin Gorda, which is where they have what's called the baths. Any of you that's ever been on a cruise, that's sometimes one of the stops that they go through. And that's one of our favorite places to go. I mean, it's just so peaceful. If you ever go to that area into Virgin Gorda, then go over, take a little ride down to what they call the baths. And it is just so peaceful. We love going there. It's relaxing for us. It's just a very special place. Another place that we like to go, a lot of you like to go too. In fact, we took a group several years ago. We love the Smoky Mountains. We love to go up there, especially in the fall, to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. That's another awesome place to go up there and see especially when the leaves are changing. It's beautiful up there during that time of the year. We love that good Tennessee cooking that they have there. It's just all a special place for us, and we like to get those little cottages and just enjoy ourselves, just relax and just have a great time. That's one of the places I've been many times growing up as a child. My family went to Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Sevierville for years and years and years, and we like to go back to that place too. Another place we enjoy going, we found actually this year, and we're going to be going again sometime probably in the fall, which is Halifax, Nova Scotia. I've never been to Halifax. It is absolutely an incredible city. It is like a mini Boston, so to speak. And Boston's another cool place, but it's another great place. It's a good pace of people there. Everything's easy to walk around. A lot of great restaurants. Again, a lot of great seafood, and it's just an awesome place. And you know, when you go on trips and you go on vacations and you do things like that, the hardest day of the trip is the day you got to come back home. It's what I call the travel day, when you got to travel home. And it can be, you know, just, you're like, man, we don't want this to end. And that's how you want it to be. You don't want it to end. You want it to keep going and going because you're loving the moment. And so you got that moment where you have to do your travel. And you always hope that when you're traveling, whether you're driving or you're flying, you don't have any problems. But what is so fascinating, and the reason I'm telling you all this, I set this up not just because I wanted to show you beautiful pictures of my wife, but and beautiful places, but I wanted you to know that there's something very unique that I have found in any travel I've done. There is something that I have found that is in common with every single time I make a trip. And that is the moment, that feeling that I get when I come back home. I love that moment when I walk back into my house. We find ourselves saying, oh, it's good to be back home. We love our home. Now, a lot of you have been in our home before. It's a special place to us. It's a really special place to us. And it's a different home. I know that. It's an octagon-shaped house. It's got 24 French doors and only one window, and that's the window above the kitchen. Everything else is just French doors. It's a completely different kind of house. We know that. It's quiet. It's on a few acres, and you can't see any houses where we live. It's really peaceful. But I don't know if I've ever told you the story about our home. And I want to tell you about it because I didn't realize that the story of our home and why I walk into it and I get that feeling, that story really is connected to our journey and what we're doing as it relates to us finding and getting, not finding, but getting our home built and getting into our new church and our new home church. So after the downfall of the economy and the housing market crash, then we were able to kind of get into a position where we could buy a home. And we had lived in a couple subdivisions before, and nothing wrong with gated communities and subdivisions. But the problem Dana and I had with that was that we like to have people at our house. And for us, it seems like the couple subdivisions or gated communities that we lived in, it's like you got to go through Congress just to get a visitor, to allow a visitor's pass to come. And it was just so frustrating. And if we had all the staff to come, then I'd have to stand out there. You can't let your car park. Your wheels can't touch the curb. You can't be on the grass. You can't block the sidewalk. They give us citations and tickets and stuff. And so we really wanted a place where we didn't have to worry about that. We didn't have to worry about HOAs and the neighbors that tell us all the things that we can't do, and playing loud music and having parties at our house that, that pastors do. So we began a search looking, and we put this before the Lord because we were looking for a place that we wanted it to be home. We were looking for a place that we knew that we were going to, and at this point we didn't have grandkids. And we wanted a place where our grandkids could come, where they could enjoy it. We've got a porch. You can literally just go around our house on the porch because our porch goes all the way around. And it just goes around and around. And so you can just turn the kids loose and just let them go round and around and keep them caged in the porch and lock the doors. And they can just go out there and ride their little, big wheels or whatever, the wagons, and go around and around. And we're looking for a place that would be that, a place that we could have our church family come home with us and have meals together, fellowship. We love it when we get people around at our house, and I've got a beautiful piano that was gifted to me, and love to sit around and we play worship and have worship together, and it's awesome. And so we began to ask the Lord to give us a special place, and so we were looking, and We found a couple houses that we liked, and we wanted something that would provide us a lot of those things that would really feel like home. In fact, there was one specific home that we found that we put a deposit on. We were under contract, and then the sellers just, got seller's remorse and wanted their home back and took it off the market, never even moved. And we were disappointed in that. We had already planned, we'd already had our idea how we were going to lay the house out, and it didn't work. So we were working with the realtor and great Christian lady, Terry, and she said, Pastor, I think we found a home that I think fits the needs and the things that you're looking for and all the check boxes and stuff. And so it was a Sunday after church. She said, we'll meet you there like at 2 o'clock. So Dana and I, we left the church. We drove and got a healthy meal at Kentucky Fried Chicken. And I remember this so well. And it's been since, it was 2016, I think it was. And so we were riding, and it was out on 27th Street Northwest. Some of you might know where that's at. It's right off of Golden Gate Boulevard. And we were coming down Pine Ridge Road, and you come up to Collier Boulevard. And I wasn't following the map, and I was supposed to turn left on Collier and then make a right on Golden Gate Boulevard. And I didn't. I went through the light, and that turns into White Boulevard. Most of you know where that's at. Pine Ridge turns into White Boulevard right there. And so we were coming down White Boulevard, and my plan was to go up to 27th Street and turn across and go the Southwest Road, cross Golden Gate Boulevard. Everybody still with me? Everybody that's in that area, and then cross over to the northwest side and go meet and look at this house. And we had a few extra minutes. Well, I turned on 31st Street. And as soon as I turned, Dana said, good-looking husband, man, you're so handsome, husband of mine, greatest in the world. You turned on the wrong road. And so, now some of that I made up. But I did turn on the wrong road. And we turned on the street, and so anybody knows that when you're in the market to look for a house, every time you see a for sale sign, it just jumps out at you. I mean, it just comes right off the page, right off the, off the board. And I saw this sign on the left, and it had a house for sale. And so I said, well, we can get to Golden Gate Boulevard from this way. So I slowed down, and the driveway to that driveway where the house was is really curved, and you couldn't really see the house until you got past it. And so I slowed down, and it was, rubbernecking, breaking my neck. And when I looked, I could see the front of the house, which is the picture. Almost you could see the picture that's on the screen there. You could just about see the portico there because of the driveway. And so I said, babe, that house back there looks like the kind of house that we're looking for. So I backed up, and we started driving in the driveway, not knowing if anybody was there or not. We didn't want somebody out there because, they got guns out in the estates. And so, we didn't want somebody to come out there and get off my property, and so we were very cautious. Wasn't nobody out there. And so we got out, and I pulled out my phone app that was for Trulia, which is like Zillow or a housing app. And I zoomed out and into the property. And when I did, I saw all the specs on the property. And it was the house there, and then it was actually 10 acres. And we don't own 10 acres, just so you know, but it was a house there with 10 acres. It had a horse stable with 16 stalls in it that was on the other 5 acres, and everything matched. It was beautiful. And when I saw the price, I thought, well, not for us. They didn't pre-approve us for that. And so, but we looked, we thought, wow, what a beautiful home. So then we jumped in our car and quickly went to the house that we were supposed to go to have the appointment with. Got there right at 2 o'clock. And it just wasn't our home. It was nice, but it wasn't our home. We weren't there that long. We went back to our condo that we were renting and staying in. And that night, I went back to that house, and I thought, well, this is kind of a nice neighborhood. And as soon as, for whatever reason, I went back to the app. Now, this is all important. When I went back to the app, I zoomed in, and all of a sudden, it brought up the 5 acres with the barn on it, but not the house. And then when I would zoom in or out, it would change. Sometimes it would be all 10 acres with the house and the barn, and sometimes it would be just the 5 acres and the barn. And so I called my realtor, and I said, Terry, what's going on with this piece of property here? I said, and I told her what it was doing. She said, well, let me look into it. So Monday morning, she called me, and she said, Pastor, she said, that particular home, she said, You can buy it one of three ways. You can buy the 5 acres with the house, or you can buy the other 5 acres just with the barn, 6,000 square foot barn, or you can buy all of it. And when I saw the price of all of it, I thought, well, we can't do that. And so she said, but for some reason, listen to this, the realtor had it listed wrong, and he did not realize that he did not have the option of just the house only. She said, here's the price. When she told me the price of the house and told me the price of the land, I said, whoa, okay, we could probably work this out. I want to go see it. So within a couple of hours, before noon, we were at that house. We were walking there with the listing agent, along with our agent, walking through the house. And we knew this is our home. We knew. And we said right there to the developer, we want a contract on this house. We want this house. And so, long story short, the realtor realized that he did not have the house listed independently. And so all of a sudden he gets phone calls about the house because he corrected the mistake he made on the MLS. And so we're just, but we're under contract with this home and everything. And the owner's so nice, and found out that he and his business partner were Christians, and he knew that we were pastors and everything. So let me speed this up because I want to bring the end of this, because this is where I'm going to tie what I'm going to share here for these last few moments. We get to our closing date, and we close on the property. And the realtor calls me after we close. It wasn't the old-fashioned where the seller and the owner get there and you sign and you shake hands and hand the keys over. He was at another place, I was at another. And he called me that day and he said, congratulations on your new home. He said, now I gotta tell you, he said, when we found out that we did not have the house listed right, we corrected it. And we got so many phone calls on that piece of property. He said, we got offers as high as $100,000 more than what you bought the house for. Yeah. And he said, I don't know if I should tell you this part, but he said the reason we did not pull the contract out was because my business partner and I, both being men of faith, said, we are not going to do that to the man of the cloth. And so, hey, I'll take the favor, and no matter how I can get the favor of the Lord. And so our realtor and her husband, they're all into real estate, commercial real estate, residential real estate. And he said to me, George, he said, Pastor, he said, you realize you walked into this house with $100,000 equity the day you bought the house. It was like God put his finger on top of that and said, this is going to be your home, and I'm going to make it work for you. Now, I want to tell you, because you're thinking, Pastor, what does that have to do with what your vision and our future? Well, because what I didn't realize was that there were 3 things that occurred through this process. Number 1, they're already on the screen. God gave us what he promised us. He told us that he was going to give us a house like this. We didn't know where it was, and the one we thought we were going to have, we thought we had it, and it closed. And we were so disappointed. And we thought maybe we missed God. You know, when you're going and you just believe that something's the will of God, and then it just diverts and it changes, and you're like, man, we were telling everybody this was going to be our new home, and this was it, and we were excited about it. We brought an interior designer to come in and help us, and we were already planning, getting ready to make purchases on stuff, and the seller backed out of that one house, and yet God actually gave us something better, because that house only had 2.5 acres. This house had 5 acres. So God gave us more than what we asked for. The second thing that happened was God had made the provisions for what he had promised us. Because we didn't know, honestly, if that house would have been listed for what it should have been listed for, we would have never been able to move in that house unless the Lord found a way or got those resources to us. But he got the house to us and then got the additional resources that we still needed, because it was a little bit out of our price range. But the Lord helped us with that and be able to accomplish that. And he provided the provisions that we needed, that he promised us that he would do for our home. And then the most important thing, we've been there since 2016. And that home has fulfilled every single purpose of what we envisioned it was going to do, and even more. It has brought more joy to our lives. It has brought more blessing to our family, to our children, to our grandkids. Our kids love coming to Naples. And while neither one of my kids grew up in that house because they were already in college or moved or even one of them married, it's still home to them. And they call it home. So it wasn't just a house that fit our needs. It quickly became home to Dana and I, and became home to our family. And when we have you in our home, we feel like that you are our family and you're in home with us. We're in that place together. That was the incredible blessing that God did with this. And I tell you all that is because I discovered that God will put in your heart the things that He wants you to have. And He will give you desires. And then not only give you the desires, but He will give you the desires of what you wanted. He will fulfill what you desired. When it's something that you know that is going to be honoring and pleasing to God, then God makes a way for it to happen. Now, why this whole thing about our home and our story is so important, because it's so neat, because I reflect on that so much to build my own faith on our journey that we're taking for our church home. And I look at what God's doing. He's putting in our heart, and He's made us one heart, and He's given us one home. And I see how God is going before us, and just like He did our property where Dana and I live, it's like He put His thumb on it. And He said, nobody else is going to get that but you. And the day our property, the property that we own, One Life Church, when that came up, the day that it popped up on my app that said it was a 5-acre tract right over here off Santa Barbara, I was sitting in my office. I almost broke my neck running to my car, driving to go look at that property. And I called the realtor and I said, hey, there's some land over here that looks really, really good. I think it's a great location. Meet me over here and let's talk about this. He quickly met me over there, and we're standing there looking, and we're looking at Google Map, and we're like, there's more than 5 acres here. And we go on the county website and we say there's 5 acres there and 5 acres here and 5 acres here. There was only a 5-acre tract listed. And we said, what if we go to them and just go to all the other 2 owners and see if we can buy all the land, all the 15 acres. And that was after the Lord had miraculously provided us the finances and the resources of giving us $5 million cash for a property that wasn't worth $2.8 million. Folks, that was a miracle. And then we get the elders together and we look at it, and we knew the price, and we made an offer to all 3 of the different owners, and 2 of them didn't even have the property for sale. And they quickly said, yeah, we'll take that. Now you might think, and we talked about this in our church conference before we moved over here, when we had a church meeting on that Sunday morning about the land and how that looks, folks. We want to present the possibility of buying 15 acres instead of 5 acres, and getting this instead of 5 acres, but realize that we're paying $1.25 million for each 5-acre tract, which means the land's going to cost us $3.75 million, and it's not going to give us a lot of money left over to build the building that we want to build and build it debt free. But we believe God and we trust God, and we noticed that God's hand was upon this. And so we as a church made the decision. We stepped out in great faith and we bought 15 acres for $3.75 million. Thank God He provided the provisions and the resource for us to have all of that and to do that. And then we come to this process and watching to see how God has been working the dynamics of all this. And then within just a few weeks after we're owners, the phone calls start coming. The emails start coming. People found out who was the owner of the 15 acres, and we started getting offers on the land. We were getting call after call after call from developers wanting to know if we would sell our land. We had developers, and I'll just tell you this, and we, the elders, we met as an elders, and we didn't bring it to the church because we knew that it was just going to be too risky for us. But it just gives you an idea as to what God has blessed us with. One of the developers, I won't mention who they are, contacted us. I sat down and had a meeting with them, and they made a proposal to us, but it was going to be a plan over about 3 to 5 years. But we did a pro forma form together, and they said that they would end up over the 3 to 5 years. We would have sold the entire 15 acres of them for $12 million. That just told me that we got some pretty valuable property. Every person I talk to, every realtor says, Pastor, how did you get that land? How did you get that? There's no 15 acres anywhere. Unless you go out in the estates, and look, half of y'all live out there with me, and I know. You're tired of seeing construction without roads coming in. And I just had a phone conversation with our land attorney that's doing the final closing on our conditional use permit. And he told me, he said, Pastor, he said, I've only had 2 representations of land closing that have failed. And both of them were churches out in the estates because nobody wants anything to be built out there. And if the residents can stop it, they can stop it. Our property is not in the Golden Gate Estates Planning District. We don't have to have that approval. God has positioned us right here. All this. So we've been on this journey about our home. Now we're wrapping up. We're so close with getting the conditional use permit done. We were hoping it would be done in December. You guys know how these things take in the county. It's a slow dance, and the county's our dance partner. And it's been a slow process. I know it felt like it. It really actually hasn't. If you go and ask people that's doing what we're doing to get permitting for what we're going to do, it's actually been, in their estimation, a very fast process. But to us, it's maybe felt slow. We're so close, and our land attorney's getting the final filing so we can have the public hearing. And after the public hearing, 30 days, the county will give us the approval because we've met all the requirements for our conditional use permitting. And then we can go into construction phase. Isn't that exciting? But you know, I asked you if it's exciting, and I made you stop clapping. But let me tell you why. Your pastor is nervously needing some great faith. I need your faith to come along with me. I really need, my faith can't do this by itself. I'm standing here looking at this, and our build for this is $5.9 million if we build everything at one time. We've talked, our elders have talked. Should we now, did the Lord give us 15 acres? Because does he want us to sell 5 because it's got more value to add capital? And we've been back and forth like, but Pastor, let's not give up the land. God gave us that land. God gave us that land. We've got to believe for the money. We got to believe for the money. And I'm thinking, but it's $5 million. Us to have a home. Okay, Lord, this is going to take a second big miracle. Thank you. Thank you. If I was really anointed, I'd ask the ushers to pass the plate right now. Listen, here's the thing. Let me go to a verse, and I'm going to wrap this up here. 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 10. Here's a promise that God had made to his people. I will provide a place for my people, and I will plant them so they can have a home of their own. Would you read that verse with me? Because I want it to come out of your mouth, not just mine, because now I'm pulling your faith towards me. Say this verse with me. I will provide a place for my people, and I will plant them so they can have a home of their own. Now, go with me to Ephesians chapter 3, verse 17. I want to read this verse, and then I want you to read it with me, and I want it to come out of your mouth. Then Christ will make his home in our hearts, your hearts, as you trust in him. Your roots will grow down into God's love and keep you strong. Read that verse with me. then Christ will make his home in our hearts as you trust him. Now, there's a big part in that. Keep reading. Your roots will grow down into God's love and keep you strong. 3 things I want you to pick up on this verse and 2 verses that follows, verse 18, verse 19. Everything that every home has to have in order for it to be the right home and it to be ready to be lived in, number 1 is it's got to have the right foundation. Our foundation. Our foundation. The foundation of what we have. Look at that verse again. Go back to the verse 17 again. And it says this. Then Christ will make his home in your hearts as you trust him. And your roots will grow down into God's love and keep you strong. Now that for us, roots go down, keep us strong. Roots go down, keep us strong. I want you to realize something that happened, for example, this morning in worship. Our roots went deeper. We got stronger. Every time we come together and every time the presence of the Lord comes in this place and God waters and God refreshes us, then we are growing and we are going deeper and we are becoming stronger as a church. And so our part is to making sure that we are on the foundation. We are committed to the foundation. That we are a part of the foundation. Now listen, there's going to be folks when we build this that's going to show up. There's going to be folks that didn't know that One Life Church was around here, and when they see it and they hear it, people are going to come into our building. You build it, they come, that's what they say. We're going to see new people come in that haven't put a thing in it, but they're people God sent to us. People that God is going to bring to us that will be a part of our continuation of our journey as we are there in that place. There will be others who've left, and they're not a part of the labor that we're doing and the serve teams and all that. And they're going to show up here when we get in the new building, and they're going to want to be a part of it. And guess what? We're going to let them. They'll just be the ones that has missed out on the depth that God has brought to us through this process, because this has been hard. Mobile church, portable church is a lot of work. But that's where our foundation comes in. But this is also where, what I just said about that is the second thing. It takes good faithfulness, our faithfulness, our faithfulness. And what this means is that just like Moses and Joshua, when they were leading the people out of their place of where they used to be, on their way to where God wanted them to be, which is the promised land, in that place of in-between, which we're sort of like that in the place of in-between, there were people that just said, you know what, this is just too much. I just can't do this. I'm at the seats are skinnier. Y'all noticing that? Is it just me, or are these seats getting skinnier every week? I'll let you figure that out on your own. But they feel like they're getting skinnier. Listen, the most comfortable seats is the front row, because you don't have to curve your legs over weird. If I wasn't the pastor, I would sit right where I'd sit on the front row. It is the most comfortable seat in the whole building. Y'all just don't know that yet. I see how many seats are filled up next Sunday. But there's going to be, there's people just say, I don't want to do this anymore, and it's just getting harder, and I just miss it. It just feels like it's taking longer. And man, they built a house down the road on my street, and they broke ground, and they had a building up so quick. That's a house, folks. It's a whole different process than building a church home. Trust me. But thank God, we've got some faithful people in this house. We've got people that says, we're faithful. And the reason is because of this next part of this verse, verse 18, he says, and you will have the strength to endure and to comprehend the greatness of God's love. So God is providing you and I the strength, the desire to go after it and to put everything we've got into it and to believe God to do the great and mighty things. And He's given us the ability to continue to show up. Listen, every Sunday that we put effort to bring the tabernacle and to set up the tent and prepare a place for God to inhabit, He is writing and recording every sacrifice, every person who shows up here at 7 a.m. and some that get here before then that are faithful like clockwork, that you don't even know who they are, that do this. God is taking note of that. He's already blessing you, but there's going to be greater blessing to come. We've got to remain faithful in this. We've got to stay faithful in this. And then the third point of the home in this, we found that God brought to us in our lives when we moved in our home, and we believe that God is going to just blow our minds, is the fruitfulness that's going to come. The fruitfulness. Now look at this last verse. Verse 19, may you experience the love of Christ, though it's too great to understand fully, that you will be made complete with all the fullness of life, one life, I can throw that in there, and the power that comes from God. You know why I'm stoked right now? You know why I'm really stirred up in my spirit? Is because the atmosphere that we had this morning, that we feel right now, this is the work that God's doing to not just do something in this moment, but in the moments to come to get us ready. He is transforming us. As we all have heard me say 1 billion times, it's not just about transition, it's more about transformation. We are being transformed. Now I'm going to tell you why I believe God's going to give us success. Now, these are not all the reasons, but this is a part of who we are as one heart and one home. This is why I believe that God's for us and not against us. This is why I believe, and I don't know how it's going to happen. I really, really don't. I don't want to hit the pause button. We're doing a capital campaign. You already know that One Heart, One Home is the name of our capital campaign that we're starting in April. You'll hear the 1st of March. I think the 3rd or something like that is when we've officially launched it, but then we actually start entering into the giving part of the campaign April the 8th and 9th, the Saturday and Sunday, One Heart, One Home. But I believe that the Lord's going to do this, and I believe that some things that have helped us that matter to God is, number one, is that our church has been a stable home since 1982. Parkway Life, this church family, has been a stable home since 1982. We've been around here a while. God is not going to bring us this far and say, okay, you're done. You're going to dissolve. You're over. No. We've been a stable place. And while that may not ring or resonate much to some of our hearts, because maybe, the ones that have been here, I got to be careful to start calling names because I'm going to miss somebody, but y'all know who you are. You're the reason why we're still here. We've been a stable place since 1982, but God has even greater things for our future to come. The second thing that I believe is important that builds my faith is that our church has weathered many storms. Our church has weathered many storms which only make us stronger at heart. We've come through some storms. And I don't just mean hurricane storms, but some of them were just like, you could have put a category and a name on them. Some of the storms we went through. But God, every single time, helped us remove the things that were scattered and broken that needed to be replaced. And He always replaced and brought what we needed and restored and made us a stronger home. And not only a stronger home, but He made us a stronger heart. We're one heart. And not only that, but our church has grown as a family. We never knew 2 years ago that Pastor Humberto and Cristo Mi Fortaleza was going to become a part of our church. And what you got to pay attention to is the sequence of how when that happened, everything changed. The favor, the fruitfulness, everything changed. I mean, it's been an acceleration of all these things that God's went before us. And what is so beautiful about One Life Church, One Life Cristo Mi Fortaleza, one church now, is the fact that all of the areas that we have always just kind of struggled at and been weak, man, Pastor Humberto, he's strong. And our 11:45 service, our Hispanic folks, our family, they are strong in that. And the areas that they're not as strong in or maybe as seasoned in, then we are in that. And so we balance and we make each other stronger. And we're one. And what's so great about that is all the places the enemy used to be able to attack us because we were weak, he can't get it because their strengths block our weaknesses and vice versa. Let me tell you something. And I didn't put this in my notes, but the favor of God is on this. I was standing, I got to wrap this up because I should have been done 10 minutes ago. I was in the back of my property yesterday, and I was doing some landscape work there, and I've got a mango tree that's back there that I planted several years ago, and it has not given me one mango, not one single time. And I remembered something. It might have been, I can't remember if it was Brenda Treadwell, or it could have been, Daniel. Somebody said to me, they said, Pastor, if you would plant another tree next to it, another mango tree next to it, it will accelerate and it will put it in a fruitful mode. I didn't know that. I just thought you planted a mango and a mango tree. And I'm standing out there, and I'm standing there looking at that tree, and I'm thinking, man, what's it going to take? And then I remembered, you know what? Either Brenda or somebody said, if you would plant another mango tree next to it, it'll accelerate some fruitfulness. That's what the Lord did when he brought One Life, Cristo Mi Fortaleza together in one heart, one home, and he's going to bring fruitfulness like you've never seen before. I feel that. And the last point I want to share is this. Our home, our church, has been a church where every heart can return home. Every heart. Y'all that's been around this church a long time like me, you've seen this. You've seen people come and go. You see people come and go, and then they come back. You know why? Because we don't beat them up when they leave. We don't shame them. We don't say, how dare you? We don't say, can't believe you left us. We don't write them off. We don't ignore them. When Dana and I see them in town, we go towards them. We don't dodge them. And that's all of us. Because we know everybody can lose their way. We know the prodigal son had a father who said, look, you can leave, but you'll come back because this is your home. There's other church houses, but if that's not your home, you're not going to be happy in that church house because this is your home. And wherever God plants you, that's your home. And he's going to bless you there. And that's where you're going to unite with the hearts, which means the closer you get to the heart of the people, the better you can love them when they're not likable. Let's stand together. I got to close. Here's what the Lord says. Did I not say that my vision was yet for an appointed time? It will come to pass, though it tarry, wait for it will surely come to pass. For I, the Lord, have set my hand and my watch over you. I have assigned things to enter into your seasons and your days that you do not know of. But when the time is right, the fruit will manifest itself on the vine. And of the fruit, you will continue to plant greater seeds and share your fruit with those that need to be fed. Trust me and see that I am the God who has called you. This is not just your home. This is my home, says the Lord. Lord, I love you. And I thank you. Great is your faithfulness, Lord, unto us. Move upon us, God, in a way that we cannot remain as we are. As people who serve, as people who reach, as people who give, as people who pray, as people who go after you, Lord, and chase after your heart. Lord, I pray for every family member in our home. I pray for the prodigals. I pray for those that don't feel like they belong here, but yet they do. I pray that you would break whatever it is that's making them feel unwelcomed here. I pray for those that carry church hurt. Wherever hurt of church came, heal them, Lord. And Lord, forgive us if we've been a part of any pain that has been brought in the hearts of any believer or even unbeliever, Lord. God, I heard you just say this is your home. And so, God, I trust you. We're your kids. The kids can't make the mortgage payment without the dad. The kids can't pay the bills. The kids can't repair things. But Lord, you're the provision. You're the supernatural provision. You're the provider. You're the protector. You're the promised one, God. And we believe you, Lord, to do all things that you committed to do, Lord. And we thank you for it, Lord. And we ask you, God, for whatever part we play, from our administration, from our leadership, from our offices, our financial offices, our elders, our staff, pastors, whatever, God, we would be the best stewards that we can be with everything you entrust with us. Help us become better at it because we know we can improve in that area. We give you the glory and the honor. Now, one more thing, we're going to leave. Grab the hand of the person next to you. Father, I pray as we stand here as one Life Church, you will make us one heart and one family, stronger than we've ever been before. We thank you for our church. We thank you for our future. We thank you for your Holy Spirit that we have felt here today, and we believe you're going to remain here even for this next service. We ask it in Jesus' name, and let all God's people say, God bless you. Have a great day in the presence of the Lord.